Okay, so we're going to get into Talk Sports pound for pound top 10 list. Okay, so first things first, this is the criteria right here. Now, of course, sitting in at number one, sitting pretty, is none other than Vasily Lomachenko. Okay, so they got Vasily Lomachenko at number one. They got Canelo Alvarez at number two. They got Terrence Crawford at number three. They got Alexander Usyk as number four. They got Enyo at number five. They got Triple G at number six. And then in seventh, they have none other than ERROL the Truth Spence. Now, once again, we all know that the pound for pound list is something personal. It's up to people's liking. To tell you the truth, this is not even a criteria in which you judge pound for pound. Pound for pound is based off skill set alone. Do they have a fighting style that can go up several weight classes and down several weight classes? That's really what pound for pound is supposed to be. But it's defined. It's defined how whatever the person's preference are. But once again, the reason why I bring this list up is just like I told you in the ERROL Spence challenges. Okay, nobody puts ERROL Spence above Terrence Crawford. And what does it say when you think Terrence Crawford? No, when you think ERROL Spence is such a better fighter than Terrence Crawford, when he doesn't have the body of work of Terrence Crawford. He doesn't have any Hall of Fame status like Terrence Crawford. And not only that, if Terrence Crawford is so much behind ERROL Spence, and ERROL Spence wins and resume is so dominant, then how is it with a person with such a weaker resume and a weaker everything that ERROL Spence is always above him when it comes to pound for pound lists? How does Terrence Crawford get the accolades he gets without supposedly having the clout and having the supposed resume that ERROL Spence have? Now, of course, I've already went over ERROL Spence's resume. That shit is a joke. How they ever got able to fool people that his resume is somehow better than Terrence Crawford is beyond me. But it's a lot of casuals in this sport. You know, that's just how it is. But ERROL Spence never sits above Terrence Crawford in any pound for pound list. Would you find one? Yeah. You might find one. It might be an ESPN list. But beyond that, everybody places Terrence Crawford and Vasily Lomachenko. They bounce between number one, number two, and number three. Vasily Lomachenko and Terrence Crawford rarely drops out of the top five. No, they never drop out of the top five when it comes for pound list, no matter who is orchestrating that pound for pound list. Once again, this is just another fact proven to you that even without doing, or even with being across the street, or with even having wins over Gamboa or whatever, even with all that stuff going on, people still recognize Terrence Crawford as a better fighter, you know what I'm saying, and a bigger threat, and has a better style. And according to this pound for pound list, better accomplishments than ERROL the Truth Spence. Okay, now that's just the truth right here and there. There's no way that you can slice the pie. It is what it is. You know, you just can't get around it. And this is the whole thing about Terrence Crawford fighting ERROL Spence. If you notice, Terrence Crawford is not in question. Terrence Crawford is not in question of ducking. He's not in question of whether he wants to fight or not. Nobody's questioning Terrence Crawford. All the questions and why the fight's not going on and excuses for the fight not going on is all on ERROL Spence's side. But nobody questions Terrence Crawford, or if he's ducking anybody, or if he's trying to fight the best. He gets none of those accusations. None. All the accusations come in on ERROL Spence's side. You know, but nobody in their right mind puts ERROL Spence above Terrence Crawford, above a Canelo Alvarez, and above Vasily Lomachenko. Now, on the flip side of the coin, is this pound for pound list and criteria catered to make Lomachenko number one? Yeah, it is. You know, I'm not even going to deny that. But one thing's for sure, I don't argue whether Lomachenko is number one or where Terrence Crawford is number one. My whole point is these guys are in the top 5 always. They're in the top 3 always. I don't care if you want to put Terrence Crawford at number 1. I don't care if you put Lomachenko at number 1. It doesn't matter to me. Number 1 and number 2 and even number 3 spot is still good to be regarded in a pound-for-pound list. It does not matter to me. But in the real world, there's no way in hell you put Canelo Alvarez over Vasily. No, it's no way you put. My bad. I'm tired and it's time for my nap. There's no way that you put Vasily Lomachenko over Canelo Alvarez. The man has done too much in the sport. He's just too big. His resume is too stacked. He's heavily skilled. Nice record. You just don't do that. Canelo Alvarez, in all actuality, in all fairness, in all truthfulness, if you're going to use the pound-for-pound list and add in accomplishments and stuff like that in resumes, Canelo Alvarez is going to win that battle. If you do a pound-for-pound list based off of skill set and who has a better fighting skill set, that would have to be Terrence Crawford. And the reason why it would have to be Terrence Crawford, because he has a style that can climb up several weight classes, okay? Lomachenko doesn't have a style that can sustain that. Linares lets you know that. Salido lets you know that. But nonetheless, still a top-notch skill set. You know what I'm saying? That's not to take nothing away. That's not to try to strip him of anything. You know what I'm saying? And some might say, well, they don't think Terrence Crawford is all that. To me, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? My 2 guys are always in top 1, top 2, top 3 category. You know what I'm saying? A place where Errol Spence never resides at. So once again, if Errol Spence is so big, if Errol Spence is all that, then how come he's not being recognized across the board as being the elite fighter? Almost no professional boxer, trainer, or commentary puts Errol Spence over Terrence Crawford. Not even the great Roy Jones Jr. You know what I'm saying? Nobody does. It's just one of those things I just got to keep reiterating, man. Because, like I said, I don't care who makes up the list. Terrence Crawford is always going to be above Errol the Truth Spence. That's my thoughts on it. Bruce Vane, I'm out.